This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why need a cameraman when you can just do it yourself? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information. Hey guys, it's Friday, so you know what time it is. It's time for the Retro Buzz, the show that we talk about arcades, gaming, toys. Well, toys are, speaking of toys, our cool toy is not here, but we have Glen. We've got Glen playing a mint and his lightsaber.
I'm here to take out Kathleen Kennedy, man. Somehow tonight I'm doing it. Tonight.
And then we have, from a distant galaxy far, far away, Mr. Chris Brolo.
I guess I have to be the Jedi Knight and fight for peace and justice and actually defend Kathleen Kennedy now. You put me in this awkward position.
Oh, this is a good idea. I didn't think about that. That's a great idea. Wait, I got my... I don't know if I can fit this on, but I'll try. Let me see if I can squeeze it on my head. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, look at that. It just about works.
Yeah. It fits. It fits. I have my Sith robe. I should throw that on, shouldn't I? I can. I can. Dare me?
Do it.
Yeah,
do it.
Of course.
Do it.
This is from Galaxy's Edge, right?
Oh, you actually went?
They sent this. Yeah, I've been. I was there opening weekend, and Disney sent this as a review cloak.
Oh, look at that!
And it works really well. I put it on when see, I've got my Star Wars pajamas on too, of course.
Let me pull. There you go. I got it out of the way. I got it out of the way.
Star Wars pajamas, naturally. Dude, Star Wars shirt.
He's all set.
This is me being dressed up. So yes, it works very well. I'm not gonna wear this the whole time though.
I was gonna say it'd be a little warm.
No, it's made of wool. It is warm and it's itchy. So it's perfect Sith clothing. You know, it causes pain. Yeah. So I may have to fight. See, I may have to fight y'all because it's all Star Wars to me. I love it all, especially when I view it through my daughter's eyes. My tip and my suggestion, though I'm sure I may not be speaking to the right audience on this, is lose yourself in it. Like think of it as entertainment and try to like be a kid. And so I let go of certain things and just lose myself in the moment, and it all becomes Star Wars to me. It's very zen.
I can't let go of the hate. 7, 8, and 9 is all hate, all pain, all
Let me tell you something. So I will say this. Like I like Luke Skywalker. Yes, hello. I grew up with Luke, but I never really connected with him. Like yes, he's a hero, obviously, but I couldn't connect with him as a character until, and this is really gonna tick you off, The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi was the only time that I actually felt, and here's why. I'm a middle-aged man, so I understand when Luke does this to the lightsaber, because let me tell you, there are plenty of things in my life that if someone approached me and said, hey, so I totally get it. Like anytime someone brings up a part of my past that I've moved on from, and they hand it to me like I'm supposed to be impressed with it, I just do this. So I totally understand Luke from that perspective, because I'm not saying I'm as old as Luke. I'm not even close to as old as Luke, certainly in that moment. But that is why I felt like I connected most with Luke, when most of the fans, and I'm not going to say most, a lot of the fans out there felt just the opposite. So I know I'm all about controversy.
And you're a guest. You're a guest, so I'm going to bite my tongue on a lot of things you just said.
No,
but I will say,
don't bite your tongue.
I'm going to bite my tongue a little bit, because I can see your point. I can see your point. It's a wrong point, but I can see your point.
No. You are entitled to your own opinion, sir. You are not entitled to your own facts.
Yes. Also true. But I will say I completely disagree. We're going to start this. This is going to be a hot show. I'm telling you right now, man. This is going to be all over the internet by like tomorrow on like CNET and everything like that. There's been some good stuff. Like Rogue One, I enjoyed Rogue One. You know, Bad Batch, I'm enjoying the Bad Batch. I love the Mandalorian. I like those Star Wars things. They got some new Star Wars stuff coming out. You know, I like it. But 7, 8, 9, and I went into episode 7. I was pumped. You know, when that was coming out in the theaters, I was. You know, I've been waiting. You know, I was 8 years old when the first Star Wars came out, so I knew a time when it was the dark side, before Star Wars came in and kind of changed a lot of things for us kids. You know, movies weren't. There was stupid kidsy things. You know, Disney. You know, Pete's Dragon. You know, they had Rocky. Yeah, some good movies. There was nothing. Yeah, Italian. We're both Italian. First of all, we're both Italian, so we're both gonna be talking a lot. We get it. Steven will tell us to shut up, or at least tell me to shut up. But when Star Wars came out, I mean, that was something completely new and blew me away. So I'm gonna have more of a soft spot, obviously, for the original 3. That's just how it's gonna be for me. But when Episode 7 came out, I remember sitting down and watched it, and I enjoyed it. But then when I got up in the theater, my butt was hurting. So I'm like, wait a second, I think I was violated because I think I've seen this before, and it was Episode 4 all over again. They basically just took us
fans want something different. So you're saying fans want something different, but if it's too different, it's wrong.
No,
but it can't be the same. But it's got to be different.
I enjoyed it.
Too different. It's got to be the same. So that's the problem with that. That's the problem.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Episode 7. I did.
Fair.
So I still had high hopes. And to be honest, the time frame between Episodes 7 and 8, I was probably like a lot of other people out there. I'm like, who's Rey? You know, who's this coming from? Who's Snoke? Who are the Knights of Ren? All these things. And all I got was Luke sucking a blue titty and getting milk, and I'm throwing a lightsaber over his shoulder. And I'm like, what the hell am I watching? What is this? And to me personally, again, I'm going to shut up in a second, but for me personally, I felt like my childhood characters and heroes were violated. And I'm going to say that only because I have no problem with new stories and characters, but if you're going to take the classic characters and treat them that way, you better just creating new characters and going down that path than violating.
Okay, we can go on and on about this because I hear you, I understand you. I disagree because Luke was always a pacifist. He was not a fighter,
right?
And so much of that, I don't know. I'm not defending, but so much of it was nuanced, and we missed out on so much of Luke's life and what happened after Jedi, right?
True.
So it's hard for me to pass judgment on a fictional character if I found where they ended up to be as realistic as ever. Like I said, I felt closer to Luke as a character in that movie. Do I think that The Last Jedi was the best of the 3? Not necessarily, but it also, I don't know. I guess it's all Star Wars to me, and I always find something I like about these films, and I also find something that I don't like about these films. But it's entertainment.
I agree. There was something to like on all 3, and that was when I was able to get up out of the chair, walk away, and not see it ever again.
All right, that's fine. Here's the thing. It's personal, and that's fine. It's entertainment, totally. And it's personal. I like I said, I don't have any problem if someone doesn't like something. I don't. This is where I get, because I'm not, this doesn't upset me. This conversation doesn't upset me.
Good.
Where I start to get upset is specifically when people start gatekeeping. That really starts to irritate me because they're telling other people what kind of fans they should be in order to be the same kind of fan that they are. And that happens across all fandoms. That's not just a Star Wars thing.
Right.
Marvel, Star Wars, you name it.
Transformers and all of them.
Oh my God. Even Masters of the Universe, right? Like they released the new cartoon, which I loved. I'm like, this is great. This is fantastic.
You just killed
this is
Glen.
Absolutely amazing. Like it was great. It was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. And they're producing more. And here's why. I've got, my daughter is 7. Like, okay, so I grew up with Muppet Babies, right? From the Muppets Take Manhattan, and then they made it a cartoon. Loved the cartoon growing up, and then of course, they went away, and then they came back. So now there's like a CGI Muppet Babies. And as much as I tried to get my daughter to watch the old cartoon because I enjoyed the old cartoon, she's not as interested in that animation style necessarily. But she's more compelled for the new Muppet Babies. Right. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not my Muppet Babies, but it's hers, and I have a chance to enjoy the same kind of thing, but maybe in a different way. So I'm also looking at Star Wars and this fandom as any kind of, not reboot, not a rethinking, a reimagining, whatever you want to call it, of a classic IP to better make it possible for me to connect with my children on something that I enjoyed when I was a child. So that's just, so I hear we're gonna differ.
Yeah, we are. There's no
but I'm just giving you a little more color in terms of
that's totally
why.
valid. Like I grew up in the 80s with the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and obviously have other versions of Turtles, so I totally get it. But my next rebuttal would be Ghostbusters 2, Ghostbusters 2018, Trainwreck. And to me, that is the same as episodes 7, 8, and 9.
How is it a train wreck?
Oh my what?
How is it a train wreck? Dude, the funniest moment. God, I laughed. I LOL'd. I laughed. I had to pause the movie. I was laughing so hard. Not at every moment. Not at every moment at all. But there was one moment when the character that what's his name? The Thor, one of the Christophers, isn't it? Isn't he a Christopher? The guy who plays Thor. What's his?
The guy who played the secretary, right? He played the secretary.
Yeah, the secretary.
Right.
Yeah. He was just stupid. Like his character was just dumb, and he would do just
because he was a white male
things.
in a woman's film, and that's why he was stupid.
I wouldn't go that far, but like there was one moment where he covered his eyes when he meant to cover. He should have covered his ears, and it was just so Monty Python-esque that I lost it, and I was just like, okay, I just enjoyed it. But then again, I look at this kind of stuff as like, let me step away from where I am today, and just lose myself in it. Maybe I'll like it, and maybe I won't.
Right. Which is a good trait to do. I mean, I do that a lot of times. I totally get it. I'm playing here a little bit. We definitely have a difference of opinion, which is okay.
So it's fine. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I grew up Italian. You're supposed to have differences of opinion.
So
this is actually a typical Italian talk at dinner, actually.
Yeah, no.
Think about it.
So we have a super chat in here from Mike Hawk, and he says, if you want to upset Chris, introduce him to Negan. Oh, Glen. I think he meant Glen. I think he meant.
He's around. Maybe he'll come out later.
So
he is around.
Glenn has an alter ego called
I don't have an
Glen.
alter ego. I don't know what you're talking about.
He always gets attacked. So yeah, I was just gonna sit back. I was gonna get some popcorn.
Just like me. Sometimes I'm begging to be attacked. I know it's well, my personality.
Change gears a little bit here. Let's go on. Out of all of the different Star Wars movies, TV shows, whatever, what is your personal favorite?
Wait.
You know,
before he answers that, hang on. Think about that for a second.
I don't need to, but okay.
All right. For those that are just joining us, this is a different show than you normally would see, okay? So I just want to premise that here. I'm going to take a little bit of a backseat and let these two talk about this. But the reason being is we wanted to bring something different, and Star Wars is a hot topic, right? And I couldn't think of a better guy to bring on to talk Star Wars intellectually with Glenn.
But we can go retro, too. I mean,
we will.
The 80s. I remember, right, so it's like, retro Star Wars, retro everything.
But they love it when Glenn starts going bananas. They love it.
Good. Then I'm happy to be the fruit fly to Glenn's banana. Then. So, yeah, I think here's my answer to that question. I love the direction of live action Star Wars for a lot of different reasons, because we get far more Star Wars than we could get otherwise, and so much is kind of taken off the plate for the films, these feature-length films that you pent up demand and, cinematic experience and all that. But there's so much hinging on them. And if the story's good, it's good. If it's directed well, it's directed well. And maybe it's not. And maybe you enjoy it, maybe you don't. But the live-action TV series is something that I've been clamoring for, I would say, ever since I was a kid. And I'm sorry, the Ewok movies did not cut it.
Thank you. We agree there. Okay, we got one.
It was definitely a product. Although I enjoy the Star Wars Holiday Special once a year because it's kitschy. It's like, okay, this is so bad. Like Rocky Horror Picture Show, kind of, it's a train wreck that you just enjoy because it's that bad. But it's also enjoyable because it's like, oh, they tried, right? But it was a product of its time. So Star Wars, I feel has a chance to flourish with. Whether you agree or disagree with Filoni and Favreau, but that kind of live action Star Wars immersive character driven story that just expands the universe, introduces us to new characters, new locations, new experiences is amazing. I love that they're doing it. I want more Star Wars live action stuff. I would take Star Wars live action over feature length films. I love that they're experimenting with Star Wars too. I think they should do some different things. But I'm not an anime person, but I'm very, very interested to see what happens with Visions because my favorite Matrix was the Animatrix.
Yes,
I'm you know what I'm saying? I'm not into anime at all, but I'm like, this is a great way of telling stories differently, and we get to enjoy that galaxy far, far away, and that the mythos, but see it differently, experience it differently. So I love that. At this point, it would be the Mandalorian, but it's specifically the live action stuff that's got me most
and
driven,
with Visions, at least Disney can kind of test the waters to kind of see what works, and perhaps say, okay, we got a really good feedback on this type of show, maybe we can expand on that. And I agree. I mean, I'm enjoying the Mandalorian myself. Is it perfect? No, but it's good. It's enjoyable. Like any TV show, you have some good episodes, some not so good, but overall, I think the Mandalorian is very, very good. And I think that's kind of what's, for me, has been saving a lot of things. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I mean, it's like, I remember, okay, I know this is another battle waiting to happen, but like the dark times, right? After Jedi, basically Star Wars disappeared. I mean, yes, you had books, you had games, you had, the expanded universe, right? And I kind of got into it, but not really, because it was like, it was too confusing. It was difficult to keep up with. I didn't have access to the media. It wasn't my fandom. It wasn't a part of my fandom. Like, I loved the toys. That's my imagination drove my passion and interest for Star Wars, which is one of the reasons I collect. So it's that dark period of time that happened where we didn't have new Star Wars media, no new Star Wars content. So I would rather have something new Star Wars to talk about than not have something to talk about at all. I'd rather have something to disagree about with Star Wars than not have something to disagree about. If that makes any sense, I'd rather disagree and have that discussion than wonder what happened to that. It disappeared. So I maybe it's that not having it in my life. I love having more of it, more episodes. Give me something new every month, even every quarter. I'll take it.
And I'll admit, I am not a Star Wars fanboy. I really enjoy it. I'm a Vader fan. I like Star Wars, but I'm not like a George Lucas fanboy to a point. But I do enjoy it. So with that being said, did you hear about the latest, I guess, rumor about, Hayden Christensen having a larger role in the Obi-Wan spin-off series, that Vader and him are going to be in a little bit more? Do you have any thought about that?
I don't know if I have any thoughts. I approach any new media with no expectations, which is probably why I'm rarely disappointed. Like, I usually kind of have an expectation, like when a new blockbuster's released, I'm like, yeah, this is not going to be that good. And so I see it, I watch it, and I'm like, yeah, that wasn't that good. But I had no expectations. Even with Star Wars, yes, it's Star Wars. I'm just going to take it in. And so I don't have any expectations. So then rarely do I find myself disappointed. So I have no expectations with Hayden Christensen's role. I believe a lot of if the prequels could be perceived as a failure from my point of view, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I feel that they could have been done better. That I wish they would have been done that in such a way that I would have connected with them the way that other people do. I'm kind of jealous that other people really, honestly, I'm not upset. I'm just like jealous. Like, I didn't connect with the movies the same way they did because I was older. They were younger, so they were part of a different kind of generation. Just like my daughter is younger. I'm way older. So if direction, writing, everything is produced in a way that it was meant to be done, I don't have a problem with how much or how little someone is involved as a character, whether it's Hayden Christensen, who I feel was misdirected. I feel the cast was misdirected in the prequels. I really do, and it shows over and over. George Lucas
is not a good actor director. He's a good storyteller conceptually, but as far as his lines delivered, how he was directing the staff, I agree. You can tell that in the prequels. You can just tell in the way everyone was acting. It was very bad.
That's where I kind of try to find something redeeming. I'm like, well, was this meant to be like? I mean, was that his vision for it to be cheesy? Like this line, I'm like, well, I guess when I was a teenage boy, I wasn't exactly the most eloquent. All right, well, okay, I guess that kind of fits. And I watch it differently, over the years, and it's not that I feel off about it or upset about it, but it's just like I take it for what it is and try to accept it. Or I accept it for what it is, even if it's not something that I feel was up to where it should have been. And for whatever it's worth. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, editing pretty much saved the original of Star Wars, right? You know, A New Hope.
Yeah. And actually, that's the one thing I can thank, and I really can thank Kathleen Kennedy for, was 7, 8, 9 made the prequels look fantastic. So I had a total new appreciation for 1, 2, and 3. So Kathleen Kennedy, I do have to thank you for that.
Well, okay, we got that out of you. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead.
He does. He gets going, and there's no stopping him on that. Well, and to be fair, the guys in the chat room are kind of on the same length. They're like, Glenn, stand your ground. And then there's other ones like, I agree with Chris. And then there's other ones,
not pass.
So there was a couple questions that came in, and they wanted to know, since you are into retro, you're not really a gamer, but are there retro games? I know you mentioned to me off the camera that you do have a MAME cabinet.
Yeah.
So,
although
do you have a favorite
the CRT,
retro?
Well, I grew up in the era of like the Atari 2600. And then
now you'll agree with this guy.
Yeah, another common bond. All right, we're doing okay.
So Atari 2600, then the C64. Played a few games. Nintendo, of course, when it came out, but that was honestly, whereas a lot of people kind of continued with games, I kind of went away from it. I wasn't as interested in gaming or that as much as other things in life. I'm more of a writer. So I was exploring more of my creative side than I might have been, playing games. So the main machine I had was just kind of like, oh, maybe it'd be kind of cool to have something like this in my play shop here. And so it's got, a ton of ROMs on there from the arcade, which if I was lucky to go to an arcade, we didn't have a lot of money to spend. Maybe I'd have like $1. And so I remember seeing a lot of games that I never got to play. So I've had a chance to play them, or playing the games that I do remember playing and doing well at. But yeah, I don't know. I had a limited exposure to a lot of this stuff by comparison to many people. My only problem right now with the main machine, it's got a CRT, and I don't know. It's a Dream Arcade is what it is, and it's old. I mean, I had this from the days of Ustream back when, and when something had happened, and the white or something in the monitor is like glitched out, like it's not rendering white, so like the whites look pink, and I don't know what to do because I'm not a hardware guy, so I haven't even turned it on for a little while. But yeah, I don't know. I've tried it all. I don't have any favorites. It's just kind of like, what am I in the mood for? What would I like to try? What do I want to do? My favorite thing to do with the arcade machine is when someone comes over, I'll ask them like, hey, do you remember playing a game?
Right.
A certain game in the arcade, or do you remember, and then I like pulling up that game on the arcade because then they light up. So it's as much for other people as it is for me, but it's,
that's kind of what got us going. Like even in the house here, like me and my kids, it was like the Rampage cabinet was the first one we got. And my brother and I used to always play it. We'd go to Showbiz Pizza at the time, and, he would be the gorilla, I'd be the lizard, and we'd just pound buildings. And then to see that and share that with my kids, I get that. But I think they're wondering too, as big as a Star Wars fan you are, do you play the old Vector Star Wars game? Like I have the arcade one that you sit down and fly the yoke and.
Yeah, I wanted to get that. I didn't know. I don't think I could have found room. I mean, I like what Arcade 1-Up is doing. I really do. I don't have the room. I don't have the space. It would be awesome, but I've played that one. I've got in my arcade cabinet like a rollerball, which acts as the yoke, and it works really well. It's very accurate. It's incredibly accurate. But
Star Wars GRS yoke. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, Glenn makes all those, like the trackballs. He actually made a Star Wars yoke. Like
nice.
he sells them.
Cool.
He has them. Yeah.
Well, okay. So now I got to talk to you. I'm not an electronic guy at all. Although right now I just started a new 3D print on my Prusa Mini Plus. I'm doing a little TIE Fighter snap kit.
Nice.
It's only gonna take like 18 minutes to print. So if you hear anything going in the background, I'm printing something right now. You can actually.
The ladies know exactly what I can do in that same time a lot.
I'm telling you right there. There's in the wide view, this is the filament that's spool. You'll see it potentially just slightly moving. It's taking the filament in, and it's going to print a little TIE Fighter.
Did you get the X-wing one? There's also a 3D print, a nice.
Oh yeah,
X-wing.
there's tons of them. Yeah, I've got the print in place, like an X-wing snap. I haven't done it yet, but I've got this one loaded right now, the filament. But yeah, my art, like, I got to figure out how to fix this. Do I have to replace the monitor? Is it gone? Is it shot?
It could be. It could be. Hold on a second. Wait a second. Hold on.
Nice.
Okay.
Love the Hot Wheels.
It could be. It could be one of the caps, but with CRTs, there's so much. There's so much current in those flybacks. They're very dangerous. I wouldn't recommend you doing it. No. But if you know someone who can work on it, a lot of times it's just a capacitor that just has to be replaced. It's not supplying enough current, and that could be causing the problem. If it's got burn-in, that's different. But if it's just not showing the whites, it's most likely a capacitor that has to be replaced.
Okay, then I think I'm going to try to reach out to some Seattle area people that might be able to help, because it's like I mean, I don't want to haul the whole thing out, right? Like, it's like, right. I figured someone would be able to address it, but thank you for that lead. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
Especially with a CRT and something like that. If you can keep that CRT going, you want to, because they are extremely more rare than midichlorians in my body. Very rare.
Well, one of the reasons we wanted to bring Chris on is also because, like, he is doing a lot with Star Wars, and if you guys, some of you guys out there have known him for a while, being on the internet. Some of you, this is the first time you're seeing him. And if you didn't see behind him, him and Glenn were getting into it, because this is just a 10? A 10?
That's a small view. Yeah, I can't. Okay, I'm going to, here, do this for me. Go to another view, because I need to move the camera, and it's going to,
okay.
It's going to
No, we could do. It almost at the bottom of the hour. You know what that time is?
Yeah, we'll go to Glen's
Game of the Week.
Game of the Week. So, guys, we'll be right back.
So what game have I been playing this week? It's Universal's Mr. Do. Mr. Do is an arcade maze game developed and published by Universal in 1982, the first game in the Mr. Do series. It's credited as the first arcade game to be released as a conversion kit by Taito. It was a commercial success in Japan and in North America, selling over 30,000 units in the United States alone. The object of Mr. Do is to score as many points as possible by digging tunnels through the ground and collecting cherries. The title character, Mr. Do, a circus clown in the US, he was a snowman in Japan.
Happy birthday!
Is constantly being chased by red monsters called creeps, and the player loses a life if Mr. Do is caught by one. The game ends when the last Mr. Do life is lost. Cherries are distributed throughout the level in groups of 8. A level is completed by either when all the cherries are removed, all the creeps are destroyed, an extra is spelled, or a diamond is found. Mr. Do can defeat creeps by hitting them with his bouncing power ball, or by dropping large apples on them. While the ball is bouncing towards the creeps, Mr. Do is defenseless. If the ball bounces into an area where there is no creeps to hit, such as behind a fallen apple, Mr. Do can't use it again until he has retrieved it. Mr. Do or the creeps can push an apple off an edge of a vertical tunnel and crush one or more creeps. If an apple falls more than its own height, it breaks and disappears. Mr. Do can also be crushed by a falling apple, causing a loss of a life. Occasionally, the creeps transform briefly into more powerful multicolored monsters that can tunnel through the ground. If one of these digs through a cherry, it leaves fewer cherries for Mr. Do to collect. When it digs under an apple, it often crushes itself or other creeps, and or even Mr. Do. Each time the score passes a certain threshold during play, a letter from a word extra will appear in the playfield as an alpha monster, and the player can defeat or be defeated by the monster in the same way as a creep. And collecting all 5 letters of the word completes the level. Alpha monsters attempt to eat any apples they encounter, which makes it more difficult to crush them. All the creeps spawn at the center of the screen. After they've all appeared, the the generator will turn that area into a food item. Picking this up scores bonus points, freezes all the creeps, and calls out all the alpha monsters and 3 large blue monsters. The latter can eat apples as well. The creeps stay frozen until the player either defeats all 3 blue monsters, defeats the alpha monsters, in which case any remaining blue monsters will be turned into apples, loses a life, or completes the stage. Rarely, a dropping apple will reveal a diamond, which, if collected within about 15 seconds, will complete the level and awards a bonus credit to the player. Mr. Do was created by, well, this guy, who asked me to pronounce it. It was inspired by Namco's Dig Dug, similar to how many of Universal's other games took licenses from other companies' more successful games. Ladybug being a good example, being very similar to Pac-Man. Now, Mr. Do was a very popular arcade game, so of course it was going to be ported to a number of home systems. The Atari 2600, the Atari 8-bit computer family, ColecoVision, once again having a very good port, the Apple II, the MSX, Neo Geo had a port, even the Tommy Tutor, which is basically a Frankenstein TI-9948 computer made for more educational use, and the Commodore 64. In fact, there was even a really rare and really well done handheld version by Tommy released in 1983. And once again, since Mr. Do was a popular arcade game, they're also going to make some sequels. There was Mr. Do's Castle released in 1983, Mr. Do's Wild Ride, and Mr. Do Run Run, both released in 1984. There was even an expanded version of Mr. Do with 99 levels that was released back in 1988. One little fun fact is that Mr. Do is being credited as the very first arcade game machine to be released as a conversion kit. So you can see there's a multitude of different ways to play Mr. Do. Of course, the best is still the original arcade game, which is available, of course, in MAME. But if you do have a home console, there's some pretty good ports out there as well. It's really a fun game, it's a challenging game, and it's one of the few times I think people actually like clowns.
Get cleaned up! Tell him! Tell him!
I don't know. So that's what I was playing this week. What were you playing this week? Well, whatever it was, just remember to enjoy yourself and game on.
Great video as always from Glen. And while the break was going on, Chris actually, we're going to flip it over to his camera here. You can see his 3D print. It's Star Wars.
Yeah, there's 3D printing. So up at the top, that is my full run of vintage Star Wars figures, complete with accessories, C9, C10 condition, so mint, near mint, full run, yak base, blue snaggletooth, all that. That's where they are kept with accessories. There's the arcade cabinet with all the Tron figures on top of it. There's the Prusa Mini. I use it pretty much every day, usually 3D printing Star Wars stuff. Right now, like I said, it's doing a little TIE Fighter model. I don't know if I can get around too much past this light. Yeah. So unfortunately I can't because I'm limited. I'm tethered right now to the system. But yeah, I've got Star Wars. That's not even you're seeing I cut you off like halfway. So in this room alone,
Wow.
like I'm not even I mean, I love retro, right? And I thrift stuff all the time. Like every day I'm like thrifting. I've got some really good thrifting scores today, although modern. But I have thrifted like He-Man figures when I found them. If I find anything like retro like that, I usually snap it up. I know there are a lot of people who flip and sell, but I'm more interested in collecting than flipping. I mean, I will sell things that are like I don't want anymore. Like, you know, hey, this be something worth selling. But yeah, I'm. This is where I get excited talking about the collectible stuff.
It's funny to see the comments in here. They're like, yeah, I think Chris likes Star Wars. That's just a little bit. And Glenn, what do you think over here?
I love Star Trek. Star Trek is awesome. Captain
Hey,
Kirk
the two can coexist, Vader, because one is sci-fi and the other is fantasy. Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. Shaka when the walls fell.
I was wondering what you were doing there, Glenn. You put I thought you were turning into Vader or something.
If you only knew the power
of Kathleen Kennedy being gone.
Yeah, everybody, sweet collection. They like the collection.
on that front, what I'm going to do is I'm going to link in chat. Here is now most of what I'm posting on YouTube right now or these days is more inspirational stuff, more motivational stuff, more advice, life advice that people might ask me for. But I just pasted a link in chat. That is my 2021 home office tour. That's not all the Star Wars stuff, but yeah, again, there's the link in chat. That's my YouTube channel, but like I said, there's not a lot of I mean, there is Star Wars stuff in my YouTube channel, like where Galaxy's Edge when I went to that, and my collection stuff, and I've done all sorts of videos in my channel. But at this point, it's focused on more advice, life advice that people have asked, career advice, and what have you.
And then you also have the Star Wars Radar one that people, if they want to see more about that with the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, and I've been uploading different things there as well. But for Star Wars Radar, the Twitter Star Wars Radar account is more active. There's like 40,000 followers there. My Twitter account, Chris Perillo, is also very. I mean, if it's me, Star Wars is going to be covered in one way, shape, or form. But most of my daily Star Wars discussions happen either on Twitter, with my personal account, Chris Perillo, or Star Wars Radar there. Like there's something that I got the other day at Ross. They had like a 5-piece Mando set with forks. You can't see the front of that cup, unfortunately. It got cropped out. But I find this kind of stuff all the time, and I love it. I go thrifting, like I said. Like today, went thrifting and found an amazing. Like I got into the Star Wars Command. They were like, the little green army men, right? Hasbro made these a few years ago. They weren't that popular, and I even skipped them back then. But I found 2 bags of these for like $3 of like the little, not green army men, but basically Star Wars characters. I haven't opened them yet because I was going to do that tonight on my Twitch show. That's usually what I do as a variety streamer on Twitch. I'll like start the stream. I say I'm with 3D printing this thing tonight. Let me show you what I got today. Here's a whole bunch of Star Wars stuff. What's on your mind? What's on your screen? What are you watching? What should I be watching? Yeah, I'm live on Twitch every night at 6 p.m. And then I usually give advice. I like giving advice. Could people ask, hey, what should I do for this? What should I do for that? I'm like, well, I may be wrong. I'm opinionated. Take it, contextualize. One size definitely does not fit all, but here's what I would do. So, I'm a perfect user of the internet. I have no problem telling other people what to do. It's up to them. Like, I'm not saying what they should do. I'm just saying, hey, this would be what I would do, or here's been my experience with doing something. I'm also, beyond being a big fan of Star Wars, I'm a fan of being a creator and enabling other creators. Before the program, we were talking about how you used to watch the stuff that I did and were inspired to do what you do, which is amazing. Yeah. And that's exciting to me because my entire career trajectory has been not just being a content creator, not just being a creator and enjoying doing this kind of thing, but I also enjoy enabling other creators. So my career very much is, if I were to encapsulate it, it's enabling other people. Yes, enjoying Star Wars, that's not so much of a career, but enabling other creators to find their path and find their way to success is something that's interesting to me because it's the experience that I've had. And it's been my growth, and I even have the opportunity to take that kind of I guess insight well within the walls of where I work. So I appreciate being able to give other people a bit of perspective when they are looking for that kind of help. If anything, I've considered myself for years more of a creator advocate.
Well, and that's true because, and I stated this to you, like you said before, those that have seen me, interviewed me, whatever, I've always said I got my start watching. You were the first stream I ever had seen because Ustream had you plastered on the front page, which was good. And I sat there and I was like, dang, this guy's just ignoring everybody and he's going about his day. But you had community. Yeah. That was one thing you had. You had an awesome community. And
yeah, Twitch is. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
But I think you hit the nail on the head, the community aspect of it. And that's something that I feel YouTube has been missing for years. YouTube is really bad at community, and Twitch reminds me a lot these days, Twitch, not like video games Twitch after the Justin TV pivot. But Twitch today is very much about community in a way that I'm very reminded of the Ustream days. I don't do 24/7 anymore. It's just for a couple of hours in the evening. But the engagement that I find on Twitch is very, very, very deep by comparison to YouTube. YouTube is a different beast entirely, which is one of the reasons why I'm more interested in Twitch than I am YouTube for doing a lot of the stuff that I might do in video, whether it's Star Wars or talking about whatever.
And you would have never known, that you inspired me if I didn't say anything. And here it is,
Right.
what, 15 years later from when you started doing the 24/7 streams, and we sit and watch. Now it's interesting, like, to sit and see the new direction, just like we've all got new directions of going. I think it's interesting to see that the impact that you've had, and now you're changing gears, and that community's, your core community is still there.
Well, it's not so much changing gears. It's managing expectations and understanding that I'm not the same person that I was 20 years ago. But there's still, sorry, like,
No, you're good.
My family. What do I think of Disney Plus? I think it's amazing. I want more. So thank you, Hollywood Polo, for asking the question. Like, Star Wars is always going to be a part of my life. Like, that's the thing. People, they think it was a sudden thing. I'm like, no. I've been a fan ever since. I still have my first Star Wars figure right over there, an AT-AT driver. It's like my favorite thing. People ask my most valuable item in my collection. It's that, because that's the thing that pulled me really into the fandom. And so I enjoy tripping nostalgic. I enjoy retro. I do a thing on Twitch where on Saturday and Sunday, I'll eat cereal, and I don't eat it on a daily basis, but I'll try a new cereal like every Saturday, or try a new cereal, or at least have some cereal, because I remember when Saturday morning cartoons were a thing, and enjoying that. And so I find ways to bring, that kind of that nostalgia and that feeling of retro into my life, so that it doesn't feel like it's an anomaly, right? And people have the propensity for pigeonholing folks, like, wait a minute, how could you be that? I thought you were this. No, you can't be that. You have to be the thing that I want you to be. And it's like, people are complex. So, that's one challenge with YouTube, right? On YouTube, your YouTube channel has to be one thing and one thing alone, and damn you if you do something that goes beyond that, like your host.
Yep.
And people have an expectation that if you publish something in your YouTube channel, it's going to be about one subject. And that's always upset me. And it's one of the reasons why I feel that YouTube's never been a really good place for me, because I'm all over the map.
Right.
Like, but Twitch, I'll be like, hey, everybody, I'm eating cereal today, and I'm 3D printing another little model of a TIE fighter, and I'm drinking out of a cup that I got at Dollar Tree, and I'm showcasing something that this little arcade, and I'm sorry, the light that I've got right now is not as bright, but this little miniature arcade cabinet replica. Let's see, it's going to be blurry. Yeah, and it's too dark back there. Of the Star Wars arcade. Look, I got this. So I mean, I'm all over the place.
I could throw a Raspberry Pi in there for you. I'll tell you right now. I'll put a Pi in there and a 1 inch.
He will too.
Screen.
He would.
I don't even think. No, you couldn't even get a Raspberry in here. A Raspberry Pi.
Glen,
it's so small.
Glenn, you need to go.
I like that challenge. Hold on.
Well, while he's doing that, there's some questions in here for you. I'm gonna pull up here.
My favorite Star Wars collectible is the one that I currently have. Whatever one is that I currently have, and so like today, my favorite Star Wars collectible is not just what I printed, but specifically the command figures, right? So I'll be opening these later in my stream, or my favorite collectible, for some reason, 2 unopened boxes of Lego sets, the Mando Lego sets and a Spider-Man Mecha Lego set I got for like $4. Both of these sets, and I think they're unopened. So this is my favorite Star Wars collectible. So it's never really one thing. I mean, like I said, the AT-AT driver, was my first, but.
And we'll get to some of these other questions here, but
real quick.
Yeah.
So have you ever seen these little guys? These little tiny.
Oh yeah, I love them. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have in here. I was the first person in the world. Raspberry Pi 0W, 10,000 arcade games, a 1.3 inch screen. So if I could do it to this, I could do it to that.
That's cool. I love those. I mean, they're not great,
No.
But like I'll pick them up on sale. Sometimes I find them thrifting. In fact, this 2 days ago I found there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pinball, so I figured I'd grab it.
Yeah.
And I've got a shelf of, it looks like a little retro arcade. Yeah, I'll get them. I'll grab those. Those are fun.
Yeah, the tiny arcades are like the episode 3 of Star Wars. So yeah,
here we
not
go.
excellent, but they're still pretty good.
Yeah. I'll go for that.
So 8-Bit Ryan says, question for all three of you: what do you consider the best Star Wars video game?
Ooh.
The first one.
Oh,
the
that came out
Vector,
pretty good.
The Atari. Yeah. There's another one. Someone remixed this model with full sides, but I thought this one would be work just as well. In fact, it's even got a little holder at the top, so it can be like an ornament or hung somewhere. But yeah, this took about 18 minutes to create. So, and it didn't take that long. I'm not an expert. I don't really understand hardware as much as clearly you do, and I can still 3D print. And so I love 3D printing this kind of stuff. And I printed off a whole series of, for the lack of a better word, hologram figures. I used kind of like a Force Ghost Blue. You can't see it; it's just out of shot. But someone designed like a whole bunch of Star Wars characters, articulated Star Wars characters that could be printed and assembled. And so Vader is one of my focuses, but he did a whole bunch of characters, and so I printed them off in this Force Ghost Blue that is absolutely spectacular. Like here's the color. Like I do like the Kyber crystals. So like I did a whole bunch of figure series in this very translucent blue color, and they turned out so nice.
Chris, do you want to see the last thing I 3D printed?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. You ready? Get the music going.
No way.
The Donkey Kong.
Cool.
The Donkey Kong cab.
So this will be my next video. It is about a foot tall, 3D printed Donkey Kong cabinet. We've got a Raspberry Pi 3 in here. And look, even the volume control, got a little barrel for the volume control.
Wow. See, that's something I couldn't even begin to attempt to do. Hats off. That is spectacular. Wow.
Kathleen Kennedy was not involved in this.
And
I hope not.
Our other co-host Doug, who's not here, he's at a toy convention actually. He has Chris just got a pinball table, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pinball table that Doug always shows on this show. Because everybody always asks him what's his favorite pinball, and he pulls up the little mini pinball table.
It's a mini pinball thing.
And Chris actually has that one too. Do you have a favorite droid from the Star Wars universe?
I loved Chopper. Chopper was hilarious. Voiced by Dave Filoni, who I met and got an autograph from. We were checking into a hotel at the same time when I was invited down on a junket for Galaxy's Edge, for real. Chopper's got, I feel he's got personality, and that's not something you see a lot with Astro. I mean, you do see it, but I feel Chopper had way more personality than, say, R2, though I grew up with R2. I loved Rebels. I liked Resistance. I liked where they were going with that.
You had me. I was just going to say you had me, and then you lost me. You had me with Rebels, then you lost me.
But it's a different. But here's the thing: you can tell that they were targeting a different demographic. And like I said, it's like I have to view it through a different lens and enjoy it differently. So I just take it for what it is. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm not the target demo for that, clearly. But man, it was kind of fun, and I got a kick out of Kaz. He was like, ah! I loved it. It was hilarious. He was hilarious. It never wore thin for me. It just didn't wear thin. I'm like, it was funny.
Let's see here.
Anyway,
I'm just going. No, you're fine. I'm going through comments here. A lot of people are saying like Coder by far, Chopper. Let's see here. Oh, they're talking about the video game. Okay.
Yeah, and actually, Chopper was just recently in one. If you haven't seen it, in one of the episodes of the Bad Batch. You know, he was actually 2 episodes, I think, of the Bad Batch. So I agree. He was a good character. And he did have a little more personality than R2. He was a little more free, a little more rambunctious than even R2 was.
Well, he had more inflection, right? Because I mean, obviously, different voice mechanic, right? Not necessarily beeps and boops, but more whirs, right? So there was intonation, and that is what I mean. In sometimes it was like I could actually understand what Chopper was saying. Like there were some times I was like, I actually understood him, and that was kind of magical. Like, wow, like there's no way I could understand R2-D2. Like you'd have to kind of infer, but like there were moments. AP5 was also fun in Rebels, very reminiscent of the AP5 voiced by Steven Stanton, who also voiced Radis in Rogue One. A great guy too, amazing guy, voice actor too. And he had what was the name of the character from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? The one
the mopey robot.
Always depressed. Yeah.
Hopefully some of the comments will know.
They will. If they're nerds, they will. But AP5 was very much in that spirit, so it was it was fun to hear that in the Star Wars fandom. So yeah, I love the droids.
Did you ever read the book? Well, we still look at the comments. Did you ever read the book Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader?
I never got into many, maybe a couple of the books, but we didn't really have comics where I grew up, unfortunately, either. So I missed out on a lot of that.
Well, if anyone even out there has not read this book, it's called Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader. It's a fantastic book, and for me, it kind of saved the prequels because it talked about Episode 3 into Episode 4, kind of what happened in between there, how Vader kind of did certain things. And I wish Disney, that's what I want to see a movie of. Take that book, make it to a film, be fantastic.
Somebody's saying Marvin, voiced by Alan Rickman.
It was Marvin, yeah. So that's that. I was gonna say Marvin, but I'm like, no. But I stopped myself. I'm like, no, Marvin's the Martian from Looney Tunes.
Oh yeah.
I stopped myself, but I was gonna say it. So I'm glad that it was Marvin, Alan Rickman.
It didn't take long for them to grab it. You gotta have the chat.
You know, the interesting thing about The Bad Batch is it's more a prequel to Rebels than it is a sequel to the Clone Wars. I mean, especially with a couple of those episodes in there.
Right.
You know,
I really enjoyed Rebels. A lot of people kind of didn't care for it. I loved Rebels.
Oh, Rebels was fantastic. It was a slow burn in the beginning, but I miss it, and it's sad that it went away. I do miss Rebels.
Without Glenn getting into an argument on this one, I want to ask you, your daughter's 7, and I have a hard time with my daughter's 12, and my son he just turned 9. My son will watch anything Star Wars. My daughter cannot stand like the Rogue One, Return of the Jedi. Like she likes the effects of the new ones, but she can't stand the old ones just because they seem dated to her. Does your 7-year-old daughter watch the older ones and fare well with it?
I mean, we don't really watch a lot of movies together. You know, I've watched shows and I'll say, hey, do you want to watch this? She was into The Mandalorian a lot, of course, because of Grogu or Baby Yoda, which I'm grateful for, very grateful for. You know, but she's enjoyed going to the newer movies because she gets a chance to go to the movies and eat popcorn. So if and when they re-release the movies and we get past this pandemic, this problem, or when she's able to get vaccinated. Sorry, not to get political. I didn't realize science was political, but apparently it is. So I want to be able to go to the theater and see it in the theater, and I think that's where it has a chance to capture her attention. We've watched them in bits and pieces at home, but unless she's like drawn into it, it's difficult to keep her head still. One of the things that I'm hoping for, I'm still not sure, and I gotta make sure it's good with my wife, naturally. But they're going to be re-releasing the Transformers movie in theaters, and my daughter's not been one. When I try to get her to see like classic 2D animation, she doesn't always latch onto it on the smaller screen, you know. Because by comparison, let's face it, it's not as nice as the 3D animation that kids have these days, right? Which I don't deny that.
When I was growing up, it was black and white. They didn't have color.
Well, dude, I hear you. We had 3 channels and a rabbit ear antenna. I hear you. So my hope is to be able to take her to see that, although I'm not sure she would enjoy it. I think she'll enjoy the experience of going to see it. I don't know how dark it gets with Optimus Prime dying. But there's a Weird Al Yankovic song in the movie, so yay. Cybertron. By the way, if you're into retro, Cybertronic Spree. If you're not following Cybertronic Spree, especially if you love classic rock, they're an absolute must follow. It's a band that does an amazing job. They cosplay as Transformers. Yeah. Oh, so good. So good.
A good friend of mine named Frankie, he passed away a couple of years ago, but he got me into them, and they're awesome. The cosplay costumes they do, it's done very well. He was such a good guy too. Sorry, just brought a flashback when you brought that up.
Sorry.
No, it's a great band. They play very well.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there since we're talking retro, and so I'm still trying with my daughter, and so I feel like maybe it is the medium as much as it is the message. So the Transformers coming out in theaters, limited release for just I think a couple of days. I'm hoping, we'll see. I'm playing it by ear because of course we're gonna be wearing masks, and she's gonna want popcorn, and like that's gonna be fun. But I hope that they do re-release the movies, and I know some people are like, oh, but the classics and the special edition. I'm like, I don't care if it's Star Wars and it's on the big screen. I can tell you, she's in. It doesn't matter. She's in. She'll take any excuse to eat the popcorn. I'm like, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes.
Chris, real quick, before we go to that, real quick,
go ahead.
Did you ever see the Star Wars fan-made Revisited, Episode 4 Revisited, Empire Strikes Back Revisited? Have you ever seen those?
I think I've seen the despecialized editions or parts of them, or like something named like someone's special cut.
You gotta find. If you haven't seen it, you gotta find. I tell everyone out there. It's called Star Wars Episode 4 Revisited and Episode 5 Revisited. Those are the only ones I watch now. They're just fantastic. They're fantastic ones. Just take a look. But Steve, I didn't mean to cut you off, buddy. What you were going to say?
Oh no, you didn't. It's all good.
No, I was just trying to. I was going to pull up here the question that somebody had here about
lyrics.
What should be the next movies that? What does the panel think that Disney should do to the next movie wise besides the already announced projects?
Anything. I mean,
for me, I would like to absolutely see a Vader trilogy. I really would like to see Vader. When you think of Star Wars, that's the first character people still go to. At least my generation always go to him. He's a badass, and I really want to see what this guy was doing between Episode 3 and 4. I want to see him slicing and dicing and going ape throughout the galaxy. I want to see 3 films of that.
As a Vader collector or a person who focuses, I mean, trust me, that's just the beginning. This is nothing. This is nothing. In fact, I got, and the video is in my YouTube channel too. See if I can find. Well, I'll type it after I'm done talking. Disney sent from a prop shop that went out of business. Before it went out of business, before they knew they were going out of business, they sent their sculpt of the melted Darth Vader helmet from The Force Awakens. So it's like
nice.
Not one of a kind, but it's even more rare than it was. I've had people hunt me down. Chris, will you sell it for 5 figures? I'm like, no, I'm good.
Wow.
Like I'll take Vader any day of the week. But I would also implore them to stretch beyond and go to places that we don't know and get away from characters too. So, because I'll say this, Rogue One. You have to, in my estimation, you kind of have to drag through the first 2 acts to get to the third, and the third was fantastic. The third act was amazing. I loved the third act. But Rogue One would have been better as a live action series than it was as a film, and they hadn't been doing it at the time. And because think about it, we didn't have enough time to get to know Chirrut and Baze. We didn't know much about Jyn or Cassian Andor. So now we're getting the backstory through Andor. So I would like to see that kind of exploration, maybe not in film, but in live action TV series, so we can get a depth of characters. Vader, I don't know if would stand as a trilogy, but I think a standalone where Vader is maybe seen, and this is probably more like a comic type of thing, not the protagonist, but not the antagonist. So let's see a different side of Vader. And yes, obviously just like his badassery, but bringing a different depth to that which we knew as the character of Darth Vader. Some would argue that we already had a Darth Vader trilogy. It was the prequels because we learned where he came from. We got his backstory. But I know exactly what you're saying. I don't know. Like I said, I'm all about like surprise me. Just please plan it out. That's the only thing I would ask.
Yeah.
Don't go into it like the sequel trilogy.
Yeah,
have a plan.
I think maybe that's my biggest gripe, I guess, with 7, 8, 9 was
I hear you.
kept saying there was a plan, but there really wasn't a plan. It was a hot mess. I think that's probably out of everything the biggest issue I have with those.
You know what? That is more than fair because it's accurate. It's accurate.
Well, I know there's some people in the chat here that are also saying they need more Darth Maul. That was a character that never really resonated with people. I think that's why they killed him off so quick, right?
He was in Rebels. They did a good job in Rebels.
Exactly. Yeah. Rebels, a little bit Clone Wars, Rebels, of course, the end of Solo. Solo, I thought, did not get a fair shake in the theater. I think it was, and I had to suspend disbelief, and like, because Harrison Ford is Han Solo, he is Indiana Jones, right? There's you can't inextricable, right? But the to me, it was well done, a great score, great characters, great writing. I think some of the arcs fell short. I think some characters could have been played better, like not by acting but by writing. But there was something that deserved maybe not a trilogy, but more exploration. I would love to see an Emphas Nest series out of that, maybe even Kira out of that. There was some nuance that I think is unfortunate because a lot of people automatically wrote it off. And I'm like, give it a watch. Don't try not to go in it with expectations. But it was a very enjoyable Star Wars movie that unfortunately did not do well. And I also subsequently disconnected from my opinion, met Alden Ehrenreich when I went to Galaxy's Edge. That was a blast.
Wow.
Nice.
So all you guys out there, unfortunately we're going to have to wrap this up here, and I know we could go on and on about this, and I know you guys too, but guys, check it out. Chris will be going live later at 6 p.m. At West Coast time, and then 9 o'clock East Coast time. So you guys want to check that out, and you guys can follow over there on Twitch, twitch.tv/Chris Perillo, and then also you have your Star Wars. You guys can pull that up, Star Wars Radar, and then Star Wars Radar also on Twitter. So go over there, give it a follow. Anything else that you want to put out there? This is the first time people are seeing you here.
No, I mean, like the YouTube stuff happens, but I'm not sure if I spend most of my time or attention doing Star Wars stuff on YouTube. Most of it is on Twitch or my personal Twitch. My personal Twitter is probably where most of the activity happens. It's just I'm saying I've got like Star Wars focused stuff. The Star Wars Radar YouTube channel, it's there, but it's like I would need to do something different with it in order for it to get a hell of a lot more attention than it gets.
Well, I really appreciate you guys, you coming on and you guys hanging out and chatting with us. It was fun. It was Glen. You see his blood pressure has gone down.
A little bit. Yeah, I didn't put my watch on, but no, Chris was great. And again, everyone's entitled to their opinions, and I'm never going to change his. He'll never change mine, which is fine.
Surprised. No,
if you enjoy the content, if you enjoy the content, that's all that really matters. I mean, if certain thing resonated with him, which is fine. Again, I did like some things about the 7, 8, 9. I told you that was when I was leaving the theater, so there was still something to enjoy. But it's all about if you enjoy it. And if you personally enjoy something, don't let anyone ever tell you shouldn't have. It's if you liked it, that's all that matters.
And Glenn, do you have the Old Guys Club show? Do you have a date and time for that besides just when we're not live?
We're probably going to do that, I think, during midweek, maybe a Wednesday night. We think maybe 8 or 9 o'clock Eastern time. Okay. We're still working out. We're still working an intro video and certain things for that, for the Kicking It Old School.
Oh, okay. Kicking It Old School. I thought it was the Old Guys Club. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. You guys make sure you check him out, youtube.com/gplanamento, which he just hit 1 million views, so he's super excited about that.
Nice. Congrats.
I can't believe it. I don't know how I did it, but I got 1 million views, and thankful to everyone who watched it. Now, in all honesty, I did watch my own videos about 800,000 times personally, so I may have bumped up the numbers a little bit, but still a good thing.
Well, I thought it was when the video that you did with the Speedo. I thought that was That was how you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not saying anything. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a great night. Make sure you guys tune in to Chris's channel later on. Guys, we will see you next week for more of the Retro Buzz. We'll have more from Doug next week as well. We'll see what he finds at the convention. I'm surprised he even went, but we'll see. Till next time, keep it buzzing.